let me pivot the conversation to the foundation, because you're doing something very interesting to me, which is that, and I don't want to say that you're pivoting, but I think that there's been a shift for you, which is that you focus thus far on global health. And by the way, Nick Kristof, my great colleague, was one of the great inspirations, a column that he wrote for some of the work that you've done. But what I wanted to ask you about is, you seem to be shifting your money, resources, thought, and efforts towards climate. And I want to understand when that happened for you, what the change was, and how you see the challenge.
Yeah, actually, I'm working on a book that'll come out next summer about what a climate solution would look like. And I've been pleased that the interest level in climate has gone up pretty dramatically over the last 2 or 3 years. It was about 10 years ago, I had some professors come to me 4 or 5 times a year and bring other experts so I could learn, okay, how good are the models? What are the negative effects? What is the uncertainty? What are the positive feedback cycles? And so I've been on this learning curve, and that's the whole reason I started this nuclear power company called TerraPower, was not to make money, and I've avoided that. But although the artificial meat companies I put money into, I'm going to make more from those than I lost in the other ones. But so the climate is this really tough problem to change the whole industrial infrastructure. There are 2 issues in climate. One is called mitigation, where you're doing work to reduce the emissions, which is currently 53 billion tons a year. Everybody agrees you've got to get that pretty close to 0 by 2050. I do that outside the foundation through investments in private companies. People who do geothermal, offshore wind, electric buses. I even have a venture fund that 20 other people have supported to invest in these climate-related innovations. The other climate thing you have to do is called adaptation. That is, help the people who will still be affected, because the temperature is going to go up somewhere between 2 degrees, 3 degrees centigrade and 4 degrees centigrade, and it's hard to say what. We'll have to do a super, super good job to get anywhere near to the 2 degrees. And so the poor farmers in the equatorial regions will have more failed crops. You'll also have more storms, you have sea level rise. And so that's where the foundation is trying to create seeds that can deal with drought, that are more productive for the good years, so you have buffer stock. So we're doing a lot of adaptation work. A lot of it's the work we would do anyway, of improving nutrition, improving agricultural output. The weather is already very uncertain. It just gets worse in a negative way.
Do you think politically nuclear power will ever be something that will be a completely viable solution? Because it solves a lot of the problems.
If people were rational, yes, which means there's like a 30% chance. Nuclear, the current reactors actually have a better safety record than any other source of electricity. They are not the best.
Except that when there is a problem, there's a problem.
Chernobyl is the only case where you have radiation release killing people. Coal kills a lot of people. Natural gas pipelines blow up and kill people. Per kilowatt hour, it's the safest. But I don't care about that. Those reactors can blow up. You can design a reactor that is not capable. That is, there's no high pressure in the reactor anywhere. These existing reactors have lots of high pressure, and they need humans sitting there pushing buttons. You can design a reactor that, by multiple physics principles, that the radioactive material never leaves the reactor. You have the heat pool and the low pressure anyway. And so people at least should be open-minded that a next generation reactor can have far better economics, far better safety, no proliferation, no waste problem. But we need lots of innovations to solve climate change. If we have certain other breakthroughs, like in energy storage, you can actually create a zero-emission grid without nuclear. But it's way more straightforward. It's way less expensive. It's way quicker if a meaningful part of it is this breakthrough new generation reactor.